Hey everybody, it's Mike Payne, owner of No Pain Roofing. We're here today in Calgary, Alberta, and the weather is amazing. It's a good day to be a roofer. It's February 9th, and I think it's exactly 9 degrees out there. Actually, don't quote me on that, but I like my nines.
It's an intro there.
It's a universal number. Okay, so today we are going to talk about, hiring a contractor. And we're going to try to kind of tailor it to the Calgary market, but I think you could probably apply these tips and tricks elsewhere, like other areas maybe similar to Calgary. But Calgary has been in a state for a pretty long time now where it's been hard to get a hold of decent contractors, and there's a stigma with the trades, and I think it's personally true. It seems like we get a lot of questionable people, in the trades. But that being said, there's a lot of also great people in the trades. But you're just probably more likely to get somebody who has a criminal record and is unable to make it, in other fields of or other professions. That will just kind of be in the trades. So I think the first thing that we need to talk about with hiring somebody in the trades would be essentially looking at their reviews, and necessarily it's not necessarily that it's a 5-star review company and then that they're good. Sometimes people pay for reviews, and I think a way to detect that would be to just actually read the reviews themselves. Like if you'll see a review that maybe says, "Oh, hey, good job." And then there'll be a picture like a professional headshot, and they've only ever given one good review in their entire life, and then you happen to see 10 of these very generic, similar looking reviews. So you can that'd be a red flag, I think. And another thing I personally like to do as a shopper is I like to take a look at the worst experiences. It doesn't matter how many reviews that they have. I still want to see what's worst case scenario with these guys. And as consumers, I think we need to realize that nobody's perfect, and I think we can see what we can deal with. Though, Carly, I think you and Brody actually had a pretty bad experience with a locksmith guy there. What happened there?
Mr. Brody lost the keys for your place.
Hey.
And Brody made the mistake of just hiring the first person he called, did not read any reviews. I even was telling him while he's on the phone, I'm like, call other people. He didn't. And yeah, we got scammed out of like $600.
It was $700. Mike covered it.
Yeah,
actually,
being scammed out of $600 means it should have only cost $100.
Yeah, I still owe Mike $700 for that. I haven't forgotten.
Mm-hmm. Mike just brought it up. He's like, I'll bring this up.
Because I had the locksmith meet you at your house, and clearly you dealt with the bill at that point. But
as someone who sells construction work, you would assume you would follow the standards we suggest when trying to hire somebody.
I was panicking, man.
That's a good point. You don't want to be hiring a contractor or home renovator when you're in a panic. It's a good, to have to address things before they become an emergency. You can't always do that, which is probably another good reason why you want to have some just reputable contractors on speed dial, before you don't have to be in an awkward situation like that. From my experience, the guy did a pretty good job, but and he was on emergency hours. So, but I would say that he charged way too much. Yeah, we
went back and read the reviews, and some people were like, "Oh, we ended up telling him that's theft," and he ended up only charging us $250.
Oh,
so if we had told him, "Hey, you're scamming," but you win some, you lose some.
The panic that I was in, I think, was justifiable, considering you had just landed and you were on the way to your house.
Welcome to Canada.
Yeah. And I was supposed to be there to let you in and couldn't because I lost the keys. But the kicker here is that the keys were found the following morning, which was hilarious, of course.
Well, I think that that contractor's mistake was that he didn't let you guys know the prices in advance. If he would say, "Hey, look, this is my emergency rate. You guys could end up paying up to $700 for this," you guys might have called somebody else, and that's why he probably didn't talk about it over the phone, because he knows he's basically charging way too much. So that's something I think that we're pretty good about being is upfront about our pricing. Another really good tip, I think, is that if you have the luxury of not being in emergency situation, is ask the contractor to give you 5 of his most recent jobs and like the contact numbers and names for those clients. So then you can give them a call and just get a feel for, did they, you can ask them how was the job, how long did it take, was it a good experience, and then they, and you want the most recent ones, and you confirm with that, when did it get done, and yada yada. I mean, but I just think that also people do need to keep in mind, you can put all the safety, precautions in place, and I still think that you're still prone to having issues. You can only really reduce incidents like the one that you guys went through. But Carly, I think you had you were saying something about somebody was talking about a warranty issue or something with another company.
Yeah, one of our most recent callers, she had gone with another roofing company, I think 3 years ago. The insurance recommended roofing company, and they did a terrible job. And then 2 years down the road, they're bankrupt now. So and they claimed they had a warranty through the manufacturer, but obviously check into these things because they actually didn't.
Oh, yeah.
So 0 warranty on this girl. The company's underwater. We're helping her out. We've been helping them for the last 2 years, but I mean, I always like work, but I hate when it comes because of that.
Right.
So I don't know, even if the company has warranties and stuff, I would say check the validity of those before, because it's all just words at some point. So
got it. Yeah. I've dealt with my fair share of those, and I think that's why getting people with, I think making sure that they've actually registered your manufacturer warranty is a pretty good idea. I think that people should really consider when they hire a contractor, is that, are they certified with the manufacturer with that they're putting on? Because it doesn't matter, even if it's flooring or painting or furnace, whatever. There's generally contractor programs that you have to go through or could go through, so that that manufacturer will endorse you. And then you can get into the lifetime warranties. And I mean, sometimes lifetime warranty is not worth it, but I say the majority of the time, just looking around and trying to find those companies that offer like guaranteed for life warranties, because they cover the labor and they cover the material. And then, it doesn't necessarily mean nothing's going to go wrong. It just means that you're not going to be looking at another, $6,000 or $15,000 or whatever renovation, going forward. Brody, you got any suggestions when it comes to hiring a renovation contractor?
Well, I think you guys covered some of the most important aspects of that. Obviously, shopping around first and foremost would be a fairly important step to follow, considering the mistake that I made recently with hiring the first locksmith that I was able to get a hold of at that time. But looking through the reviews of said contractor is also extremely important, and that's something that we cater to quite heavily. We will do even very small services and not convince, but provide the type of service that will actually, I guess, I don't want to use the word force, but our service goes above and beyond what the client was expecting, to the point where they feel completely
taken care of.
They feel compelled to. Compelled would be the word I was looking for. Yeah, compelled to leave a review, a positive review, to boot. So I mean, looking through the reviews as thoroughly as you can, and shopping around are definitely probably the two biggest aspects to look at. Word of mouth is also extremely important. If you have other friends or family that have dealt with local contractors, it's definitely worthwhile just checking to see what your friends or family have in terms of recommendations, because
I think that when you bring that up, I think it'd almost be a good idea, and I think I see people do this all the time actually, is they go on the neighborhood pages and they just like ask everybody, hey, do you know a good contractor for this or that? I think those
We've been found in neighborhood pages before.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty legitimate way to do things. Also, I think probably a good idea is using your gut.
Trust your gut.
Yeah, trust your gut, and use your eyes and things like that. Like, are they showing up, and are they like, do they look kind of, rough? Do they smell like alcohol?
I've experienced the opposite actually, where I think they look really good, and like as much as I would love to show up in like some nice heeled boots and some nice dress pants and everything, I'm going in your attic. So I'm going to be wearing clothes appropriate to go in your attic. And I've accidentally run into other roofers at people's houses before when they double book us, and they're in the really nice suits. Sometimes they're in dress shoes. And the first thing I look at them and think is, you're not going in their attic.
100%.
You're not looking on their roof. And yeah, they look all spiffy, and people might think, oh, he knows what he's talking about. He has no idea what's going on up there, but he's got nice shoes on, that's for sure. So
Right. Yeah, I think that's a bit of a red flag in some ways, depending on the industry. But I mean, I think for you, you're going in, you're branded, you have, you're wearing, CertainTeed stuff, the products that we use, you have No Pain Roofing, branding on you. And yeah, I think that, you got to also consider what this person's going to be doing. And yeah, that's one reason why people pick us, is because we do a more of a thorough look. And I think so that's when you take a look at another contractor from a shopper's perspective, is who looks the most thorough. I don't think that, I think price matters, but if you get the best deal you can. If somebody's price is lower than everybody else's, but they seem like they care, and they're going to take really good care of you, and they're shining in other ways. And I say there's nothing wrong with going with the lower bid in that way. But I think most cases with going with the lowest bid is that they're corner cutting and they're cheap. And I think that in that gut feeling process, I think you're going to find out pretty quick if that's the case.
yeah, a lot of people I know, they also hear like throw-ins. And I've had a lot of clients where I meet them and they say, oh, well, this big company said they'll throw in everything to do with my bathroom fan or my plywood and all that. But as I told you earlier, if you're unaware it's happening in your attic, you cannot vouch that they actually took care of it, especially if it's in like a separate attic section that you can't pop your head up and take a look at.
Right.
That's why you want someone to actually go up there and look at everything and give you that big scary number, so that you might get a small number and then there's going to be throw-ins, or they could just throw a giant number on there. Hey, you have rotten plywood, that's $6,000 extra. And you can't say, no, your roof's off, you have this plywood.
Yeah, exactly. How do you know if you haven't checked? I think that maybe comes to another part with picking a good, renovation contractor here in Calgary, is that you need to have specifics written on your estimate. So when you're looking at the estimate, you want to know what products are they using. That's for one. I mean, because there's it could be the difference between for us it could be a synthetic felt versus a felt that basically it's not even supposed to get wet. We can get it could be a $30 roll of crappy felt versus a $300 roll. Which is going to last a lot longer underneath your shingles. So yeah, I mean, what kind of it comes down to what kind of furnace do you want? What kind of bathroom fan do you want? Do you want are they charging you top dollar for the lowest, the lowest model available with the crappiest manufacturer warranty? So yeah, I think specifics rather than all in, or this is all included, or things like that. And I think also that vagueness also leads to potential fights. Or conflicts, we'll say, in the future of you said that all of this was included, but there was nothing with fine print or anything to show you actually what was included.
Yeah, that's why we will write it all out.
Yeah.
This is completely separate, but I forgot to tell you, I think 2 consultations ago, a company had offered her an extra nail per shingle for like a $200 upcharge. I was like, well, this, if you look at manufacturer expectations, there's a certain amount of nails that go on a certain shingle. Yeah. And I told her, if they sell you on this extra shingle, you're going to pay them $200 more to avoid your warranty because they butcher it. And she was like, oh, so you guys won't charge me for extra nails? I'm like, no, we're going to put as many nails as they tell us to. We're not going to add any extra nails. But it's crazy the extents people will take to just get under a homeowner's skin and be like, I'll give you all this stuff. But
yeah, that's the thing. Sometimes less is more. And in terms of nails, that's what I say. I mean, if you could one nail or no nail a shingle, that would be better, but you can't.
Why do you want holes in your roof?
Yeah, that's just lots more holes in the roof. And so yeah, you can 20 nail a shingle, and you're gonna avoid the
upsell the heck out of that.
Yeah, sure six nails is max on some brands. I've never come across a manufacturer that would allow for more.
Yeah,
than
you just
6.
read. I always tell people, read the specifications on your shingle, because there's there's weather specifications. Like there's all these things, and they'll say, well, this company says they can install it -15. Okay, but will the manufacturer warranty your roof still if they do?
Right.
So like that's why I love CertainTeed, because they'll still warranty it if we're installing it in cold weather, but some shingles will not. So
Right. Yeah. I think honesty is the best policy, and I think that's something you can find with a contractor when you're going to hire them, is how honest are they being with you about things. Like I know some like our specialty is roofing, so we can really only opine on this subject, but to a degree. But I don't ever tell people, oh yeah, wintertime's the best time to be roofing. It's not. It's just your project could drag out 2 weeks when it was supposed to only be 3 days.
Yeah.
Debris gets lost in buried in the snow, and we have to come back in the spring sometimes. And I think that's some of the biggest surprises that people will come across, is that the snow melts and the contractor didn't tell them anything. There's just nails everywhere, and they're super mad. So it's always better just have. I think, but the next thing though too, I think with hiring a contractor is just making sure that they know what they're doing. I don't think you need to know every single detail, because you're not gonna have enough time to sit there and basically learn how to do the project. And I don't think they should be teaching you that.
Sometimes I'll go over the underlayment layers, but that's about it.
Yeah,
teaching.
A little bit here and there. I mean, I think it's good, but I think that a contractor shouldn't be overloading you or the client, homeowner, with unnecessary details. It's just like
or spicy terminology to look sound smart.
I think that's a problem of my own.
You do use big words.
Tend to explain things as black and white as possible, and for that reason I go into detail in terms of the products that we'll use, sometimes even the tools that we'll use if they're curious. But
if they're curious,
I've heard from you and from Carly both that some clients have asked you to re-explain things in a dumbed down type fashion, because I've kind of thrown things at them that just kind of flew over their head. And I'm trying to be as descriptive as possible, but your average homeowner might not understand the terminology or even care about some of the specifics of the product. But that's a tactic of mine that I like to use in terms of making the sale. Yeah. So it's kind of something I have to read every time. And actually most of the time people are happy, and they don't tell me that they're confused, and they'd be grateful that I'm being as detailed as I am, but other clients don't. So I
think the details that they appreciate, even though it's going one ear out the other, is what they're hearing from you and they're feeling from you. And like we were just talking about before, using their gut, just basically saying that this guy sounds like he knows what he's talking about. I'm going with this guy, right. And that's what you want. If you want to tell them, for attic rain, if you want to get dumb it down from those, like, well, you know how clouds are made and how rain happens outside.
I do that surprisingly a lot. I'll say there's condensation. They're like, how do I have condensation out there? I'm like, okay, outside cold, inside warm, all this stuff. But I don't know. I find my favorite thing there is just asking a client as I'm going through, like, are you familiar with this terminology? Because I'll say the word baffle, and sometimes they know what a baffle is, but I can read their body language, and I'll say, are you familiar with what a baffle is? And they'll say no. So we'll go over that. So I am thankful that I was a dum-dum around you guys for a while. Not that anybody has a dum-dum, but you guys would all use roofing lingo before I became part of this industry, and I was always so confused with what you guys were talking about that it gave me that, like, step up. So now I'm talking to them. I just imagine I'm talking to me 3 years ago, and using the terminology that I would get, which I think is a nice way to find somebody if they care that you understand them as well, and not just here's all the big words and that you need to get it done, and now you're scared that you have to get all this work done.
Yeah. Well, and I think it was good to also relate with the homeowner too, because when you didn't know very much. I mean, I had a transmission go on my truck, and he started telling me like all the intricate things. It's like, man, I'm never going to be a mechanic. I'm never going to work on this thing. I am not interested. I came here because I know you know how to do this, and I want you to do it, and I want this truck to work right now.
Talk to me like I'm two.
Yeah. I mean, I don't even need to be talked to like I'm two. I don't want to know. It's like, this is a 5-star company. They know what they're doing. That's why I'm here. I mean, like, just do it and take care of me if anything goes wrong. And to be fair, I mean, they explained a little bit too much to me, and I was kind of like, my eyes kind of glazed over. And then I left. I paid. I came back. It was good. It broke. I took it back. They fixed it. That's all I want. You know.
Yeah.
And mistakes happen.
See, I think of the times I think of when I explain things to clients, I'm thinking what I'm describing to them versus the mechanic describing the inner functions of a transmission system. It's night and day difference, right? And even though the way I'm describing things might be a little bit more detailed, it is nowhere near as advanced as somebody like would, or as say a transmission
And that's
system.
in your brain, though.
I
Again,
know,
you've
in
been
my
roofing
brain,
for
but I'm
6
like,
years. So you're like, this is not as advanced.
You
like,
said yourself, you know, outside cold, inside warm, hot and cold air mixes, condensation forms. We need airflow to prevent that from, you know, we need that to dry out any moisture there is, and we need heat
I'd
from the
punch you
ceiling.
if you talked to me like that.
And
I
we
was
need,
homeowner.
and the insulation needs to have a lot of insulation. I mean, it's all just so
Water.
It's just all so fundamental in my mind, right? And I forget that it's not like that for everybody.
I would just say, if the client is genuinely curious and wants you to sit down and show them, then I say you talk to them about it. But otherwise, I mean, generally speaking, I mean, I think a lot of homeowners are smart, and they've done their due diligence, and that's why they've called that person to get him in there. But I do hope that some of the tips we've brought up today are going to help assist with helping out with those decisions. And that being said, though, we do have a furry feature that we would like to post quick
very
here.
cute little furry feature.
Yeah, and this is this dog here that we're about to play a little infomercial here. Basically, just keep in mind that this will be also fully covered cost for taking this dog in, as it's been a long-time resident of the Pause for Change animal shelter. So take it away, Brody.
Feature Gusha. Quite the name for quite the pup. This girl is very quiet. I don't think she has spoken once. Will definitely just sit with you while you watch movies. I would just say kind of your soulmate in a dog. What's up, honey? Hi. Gusha is 1.5 years old, and she has been with Pause for Change for 4 months now, so we're hoping to get her out of here any day now. She is good with dogs and kids, and although she can be shy at first, she does warm up relatively quickly. She has already had a litter of puppies, so those days are officially behind her, and it's obvious that that's where she gets her patience from. If you would like to learn more about Gusha, you can read her description that is posted in the comments of our video, and you can also find her at the Pause for Change website. Just like our last furry feature, if you decide you'd like to adopt her, by the end of the month, No Pain Roofing will cover all adoption fees. Thanks for hanging out with me and Gusha. I will see you next week with our next furry feature.
And we're back. Wasn't that cute?
I miss Gusha already.
Well, good job, you guys. You guys did really good at making that all happen. Super cool. And I'm really hoping that we get Gusha is the name?
Gusha, yeah.
Gusha, nice new home. And so that's really good. Well, I think with that, we should wrap things up and call her a day. And just one more thing. If you guys do decide to, adopt this dog, and we'll cover the cost for you, just make sure you give our YouTube a like and a subscribe, and that will qualify you for that. Anyways, that's good for now, and bye for now.
Bye.